Hello students of class 10th DPS Surat. Welcome to the chemistry class. Here you have chapter 1 chemical reaction and equations part 5 video. This video is going to explain about single displacement and double displacement reaction. In previous videos we have already learned about the different types of chemical reaction. There are various types of chemical reactions such as combination, decomposition, single displacement, double displacement, and redox reaction. So in this video, we are going to focus on single and double displacement reaction. By the end of this video, you will be able to understand the reactivity of elements. You will be able to define displacement and double displacement reaction. You will be differentiate between single displacement and double displacement reactions. So to understand single displacement reaction, let's perform an activity of reaction of iron nails with copper sulfate solution. Take two test tubes labeled A and B. Pour some copper crystal solution in both the test tube. We know that copper sulfate is a blue color solution. Tie one of the test tube A on the clamp stand. Let B be on the test tube stand. Take the nail, iron nail, and rub it on the sandpaper so that the surface of the nail can be cleaned. Tie it with a thread and dipped into the copper sulfate solution in test tube A. After 20 minutes, you will observe that the iron nails which were dipped in copper sulfate solution is coated with copper. Examine the surface of both the nails, the one which is not used and the one which we have kept in the copper sulfate solution. You can observe that the copper deposition is easily seen on the surface of the iron nail. Take the test tube A, keep it aside near the test tube B, and now examine the intensity of the color of the solution in both the test tube. You will observe that the color of the solution in test tube A is faded because iron has displaced copper from its salt solution and formed pale green solution of ferrous sulfate, and the copper is separated out. So in general, if we see that an iron nail is dipped in the copper sulfate solution, copper being less reactive, displaced and get deposited on the iron nail, and hence iron sulfate of green color is formed. If we touch the bottom of the beaker or the test tube, we will observe that the test tube becomes hot. This means that it is an exothermic reaction too. So such example is a displacement reaction along with an exothermic reaction. Here we have seen iron displaced copper from its salt solution and form iron sulfate and copper. So simple displacement reaction is a reaction between an element and an ionic compound. The more reactive element displaces the less reactive element from its salt solution. The elements that switch places may be either two metals or two non-metals. If the lone element is a metal, it will displace the metal in the compound. And if the lone element is a non-metal, it will displace the non-metal in the compound. We can understand through an example where we have taken iron and copper sulfate. So iron being more reactive metal, it displaces copper from its solution. Similarly, if we take chlorine and potassium bromide, chlorine will displace bromine being more reactive. Let's take another example. Reaction of zinc with dilute sulfuric acid. Take some dilute sulfuric acid in test tube and zinc dust. Add zinc dust to dilute sulfuric acid. Now observe. We will observe that the gas bubbles are formed, and these gas bubbles are of hydrogen gas because zinc, being more reactive, displaces hydrogen from its solution. So equation is zinc when reacted with H2SO4, it gives ZnSO4 plus H2. Here ZnSO4 is a colorless solution. Another example of copper and silver nitrate solution. Here you can see there is a copper strip tree which is dipped in silver nitrate solution. Silver nitrate solution is a transparent solution. Copper is displacing silver in the form of crystals because copper is more reactive than silver. So copper replaces the silver, causing elemental silver to precipitate out of solution. Meanwhile, you will observe that the color of the solution becomes bluish green. This means that copper nitrate solution is a bluish green solution. Here some examples are, you need to predict the products of the given reactions and also write the observations. Zinc when reacted with copper sulfate, zinc when reacted with lead nitrate, or copper is reacting with lead nitrate or silver nitrate. So write your prediction and observations. Now, what is double displacement reaction? A double displacement reaction is where two compounds react and their positive ions and negative ions of the reactants switch places, creating two new products. So general equation AB plus CD gives AD plus CB. A and C are cations, B and D are anions. For example, sodium sulfide when react with hydrochloric acid, what will be the products? So to need to know the products, identify the ions present in the formula. See the formula Na2S. Na is written first, it means it is a cation. Sulfur is written second, it means it is an anion. Similarly, in HCl, H being first, it is a cation. Chlorine is second, it means an anion. Switch the cations and anions of the reactants. You will form NaCl and hydrogen sulfide gas. Now balance the equation as we have already learned how to add the coefficient to make it balanced equation. So here the final equation is Na2S plus 2HCl gives 2NaCl plus HCl. Another type of double displacement reaction is neutralization reaction, when an acid and base reacts to form water and a salt and involves the combination of H ions and OH ions to generate water. So definition would be the reaction that involves exchange of ions between the reactants is termed as double displacement reaction. See the another example. When solution of sodium sulfate and barium chloride are mixed, both are colorless solution. When added, it gives white precipitate of barium sulfate. White precipitate indicates that the sulfate ions are present. Equation would be Na2SO4 when react with barium chloride BaCl2, it gives BaSO4, which is an insoluble solid precipitate, and NaCl, which is in aqueous form. Here the ions are exchanged. That's why the reaction is double displacement reaction. Let's see another example of potassium iodide and lead nitrate solution. Both lead nitrate solution and potassium iodide are colorless. So when potassium iodide is mixed, it gives yellow color precipitate of lead iodide. Can you write the reaction for potassium iodide and lead nitrate equation? Can you find out what is the common thing produced in both the reactions? shown in the activities. These reactions involves formation of precipitation. A white precipitate of barium sulfate is formed by the reaction of barium ions and sulfate ions, whereas yellow precipitate of lead iodide is formed by the reaction of lead ions and iodide ions. So such reaction is also called as precipitation reaction. Double displacement reaction can be a precipitation reaction. So now it's your turn, children. Do the assessment, write the chemical reactions for the following and do it in the notebook. Thank you and have a nice time.